Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today on the show where I interview Anja Potkonjak. She is a stylist that specializes in styling men specifically, and you'll find out why she chose to do that. And not only does she just style men, but she provides them with an inner confidence. That's her goal. She wants to make sure that they feel comfortable in the clothes that they're wearing so that it can impact their lives positively. And it's something that I didn't expect from her. I thought she was going to give me advice on colors that people should be wearing and certain types of clothes that are in style today, but that wasn't the case at all. Everything she was sharing was just about making somebody feel good. So there's quite a bit to learn about the impact of clothes and the way you dress, your appearance in your personal and business life. It's a little bit different from the usual, but there's quite a bit to learn from it. So I hope you'll enjoy. If you know anyone who's looking to invest in the Golden Horseshoe area, Hamilton, St. Catharines, Brentford, I would appreciate if you'd let me know, George at welloff.ca, or you can check out my website, welloff.ca, and I'll be sure to take great care of them. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Well Off Podcast, where the goal is to motivate, inspire, and share success principles. Today, I'm here with Anja Potkonjak, and I had to practice that a couple times before we got started. She is the owner of Alpha Male Styling, which is an image and fashion consulting company. And I know that you specialize in working with men. You help men dress with confidence, pick out a new wardrobe. You help them choose an outfit or outfits for specific events. And I understand that what you like to do is really get to know the people that you're working with so that you can tailor the clothing to their unique personality. Correct?
That's correct.
Great. Well, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. So as I kind of mentioned to you a little bit earlier, we'll start off by talking about your childhood, where you grew up, what you remember from those days.
So I was born in Banja Luka, Bosnia. I moved to Canada when I was 8 years old. All of my family still lives in Banja Luka for the most part. My parents are here. My siblings are here. I like to go back as often as possible to visit and see them. I love my family very much. I only have the best memories. I do come from a war-torn country, and, there's a lot of different hardships that people had to endure. So, I just feel like it makes you a different person, kind of tougher, stronger, and a little bit more mentally aware in terms of, how quickly things can really change in life. And just taking it one day at a time to look at the positives.
Do you have memories, like war memories of just whatever, gunshots and things of that sort?
I don't actually.
Okay.
I guess it's a really good thing. My parents, I'm sure, do, but I don't.
Yeah, that's always tough. A lot of people that end up in Canada come from war-torn countries, including my parents, who came from Lebanon, actually.
Yeah.
So it's very similar, and I know that, for example, like the owners of the brokerage that I work for, they're Croatian, and they have a similar sort of story. So everybody seems to leave those countries, end up in Canada, and it's just so much better here, it seems, right? Have you enjoyed being here?
Oh, I love being here.
Yeah.
Canada is home, and anytime I ever leave the country, I'm always so grateful to be coming back here.
Yeah,
Really,
for
I
sure.
am. I mean, my family's there, like I said, and it's great to go and visit. But can I picture myself reshifting my life and moving back? I don't think I can. I really do love it here.
Yeah.
You feel safe. Canada's a great country. I just have to say that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the multiculturalism, it's the people, it's the opportunity, it's so many different things. So no, I'm very grateful.
I agree with you 100%. When I was about 16 or 17, my family went to Lebanon. I forget if it was for a wedding or something, one of my cousins. And then we got stuck there because a war broke out between Israel and Lebanon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the airport was attacked in Lebanon, so there was no way out of the country. We were actually stuck there.
That must have been a little traumatizing.
It was, yeah, it was a little bit traumatizing. But what I want to share with you is, because there were so many loud noises and like missiles landing and just, well, you can hear them. It's a small country, but we were actually evacuated. The Canadian government sent a ship to take us to Cyprus. Yeah, and when we landed in Cyprus, I remember we were there for like 2 or 3 days. We were staying in this like school gym with a bunch of cots everywhere, and that people were just sharing the space to sleep. And one day we were outside, and then I heard a loud noise. And I remember like kind of freaking out, like, man, did the war follow us here or something? But it was actually just a trash bin, like one of those large commercial trash containers. The bin came crashing down and it made a loud noise, and I realized, wow, this actually impacted me. And
it traumatizes you a little bit.
Yeah.
So any sounds, anything that's different, right? And
Yeah.
so when you live here for so long and you go back and you experience that, it's kind of like watching over your shoulder every 3 seconds.
Exactly. It's interesting, but I've never ever had to worry about any of the things my parents had to worry about when they were kids. They could have literally been killed at any given moment on multiple occasions. So, I'm just really lucky to be here.
Life is unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where you end up.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Right. And I actually have been to Serbia, as I mentioned to you. I went there for a friend's wedding, and I was in Belgrade. I know that's not the correct way to pronounce it, but I was there for just one night, and then we went to Kragujevac, which is a small town, and it's so nice there. It's such a beautiful place.
And how did you find the people?
The people are very tall.
They are.
Yeah,
they are.
Even the women are a lot taller than me. Just on average, it's so different to see that, and a lot of meat. At the time I was vegetarian, so
That's
it was
unfortunate.
it was very difficult to find something to eat in Serbia.
Salad,
Well,
potatoes.
you know what? The salad without meat was like an exception to the menu. All the salads came with meat, and you had to specifically ask for no meat. It was very different.
It's a very foreign word, vegan, in Serbia.
Oh,
I mean, however, I think they're getting a little bit more progressive with it now in terms of incorporating it into their meals. But I don't know when you went, but I'm assuming it was
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. So I think they're getting up with the times now.
Yeah, but it was also a small town.
That's
so
true.
Nobody knew how to speak English there. Surprisingly, there was actually one lady that knew a little bit of French, and that was the way I communicated with her because I speak French.
Okay.
She didn't understand any English whatsoever, which is just interesting for me to think that there's still places in the world where they don't understand any English.
Well, especially if it's a small town, small city, right? I would assume population, what?
I have no idea.
2,000 people,
Yeah,
maybe.
it could be.
It's and they're very conditioned in that space, and they're happy like that.
Yeah, it must have been weird for them to see someone like me in the country.
No, I
right?
don't think so.
Well, maybe in that little town, possibly, but everyone was very friendly. The family that we went, the wife or the bride's family was so welcoming. Everybody, it was such a cool family atmosphere, and everybody's so close.
They like to eat and drink.
Yeah, eat and drink. That's true. They really like to drink. Oh my God, they did this cool thing with beer, where you would kind of like cheers, do 3 kisses, and then chug the beer. I don't know, it was weird. But yeah, anyways, let's get into a bit of what you do.
Sure.
The reason, so typically I would have more like business owners like you, but real estate investors a lot, things like that. And I thought that a stylist would be really nice to have because maybe people don't understand the value of a stylist and what kind of impact it can have on a person's career, on their personal life, maybe even just like in dating and things of that sort. I think that's what most people relate it to. Mm-hmm. But if you want to kind of explain or maybe even share some stories of people that you've worked with that have really changed their professional appearance and maybe their confidence and things like that.
So I have a very wide range of clients. They stem anywhere from 21 to 65. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of students who come to me and they say, hey, you know what, we're going to be finishing school soon. We really want to revamp our wardrobe. What can you do to help? Now, keep in mind, their students, their budgets aren't that big, right? So I'm not working with a lot, but I am there to help anybody I possibly can to kind of kickstart their, I guess, the foundation of what they need to build in their wardrobe. So, and I say foundation because I think of building your wardrobe kind of as building a house. So you build, there's a first step, second, third, and you keep going until it's all complete. And so with wardrobe, it's for all my clients, not just students, but I try to say, you have what you have so far. Let's go through it. Let's see if we can keep anything that you've had from the past and incorporate it, whether we tailor the outfits, whether we buy new ones. But let's see if we can build them all together. Mm-hmm. And then that way you can create multiple different outfits with what you already have that's existing. So that rarely happens, to be honest with you. It's usually like a complete revamp because they've had their clothes for so long, and men don't shop as often as women do. They just don't. Women are in the mall, every day, every other day. We're just walking around, we're trying to find new things. But for men, because it's like a once a year type of thing, big shopping, they really don't want to do it. So there's a lot of clothes that gets donated also too, which is great. But it's taking the foundation and saying, let's get your 5 pairs of jeans, let's get your shoes, let's get your shirts that can at least help you get kick started, get used to wearing something that's a little bit more different than what you're normally used to. And then in a couple months from now, we'll go again and again, depending on the different seasons that are coming up. And so they notice a change right away. I mean, the number one thing for me, and I'm such a stickler on, is fit. And I don't think that people... sorry, let me rephrase that. I think that a lot of men have an issue finding pieces of clothing that fit them properly.
Right.
For the most part, they have to get them tailored. It's not an easy task. But once they do find a store that, let's say, carries a perfect pair of pants for them, they're going to keep going back to that store. They know where to go moving forward after everything's brought together. And that changes the way, there's one thing that men always do, and I find it really funny because every single one of my clients does this. They stand in the mirror and they put their hands in their pockets, and they all have their personal stances the way they do it. But you see the transition when they take off the clothes that they came in with and put on clothes that I got for them. And it's just night and day, and they're just happy, and you can see the confidence in the client standing there. You're just like, what just happened to that person that went into the change room? You came out like a completely different person, right? Which is what I love about what I do. I want to change the way that men feel about themselves, and know that there's so many different options out there with, the help of myself, or even if they do it on their own, research wise. There's so many different options out there to find your own individual style and to just run with it, really. And there's just so much room to play with. I don't think a lot of men realize that.
Yeah. Are you mostly working with 21-year-olds, or were you just giving an example? And also, what's the goal of these 21-year-olds? Why are they approaching you?
No, it's as I mentioned, it was 21 to 65.
Yes.
So, like the youngest, I think the youngest client I've ever had was 14 years old. His mom called me and she's like, "Can you style him?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And he was ecstatic. So that was fun for me. But again, different age ranges and how that client. Well, he came in and he was saying, I'm going to be finishing university soon. I want to transition my wardrobe. I want to just a little bit more, business casual. Yeah. And so we did. We went shopping. We got him a whole bunch of new wear. And till this day, I still get messages, and he's so excited about the stuff that we got. And another thing I do for my clients too, I'm always there for my clients. I'm like, if you guys ever have any problems in terms of, pairing or trying to figure out what to buy next, if I'm not around, just shoot me a text message. I'll respond right away.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming if you're in a store and you're like, oh, I don't know, but I know I have the pair of pants and I want to match it with, that sweater. I don't know if I should buy. What do I do? Yeah. All of them will text me, and I'm there for them.
Yeah. What are some of the reasons that men approach you for your services you're providing?
Transitions in life. So again, student, you're going from school into the workplace. A lot of people who are in the corporate world who are now entrepreneurs who don't want to necessarily wear suits anymore. And the corporate environment's changing in general. It's becoming a little bit more on the casual side as well. But they don't want to be in suits anymore. They want to sort of transition as well to business casual, business formal, but not so suited up and tie all the time. And, again, life changes. Maybe they're going through, a relationship breakup, a divorce, a career change. They lost a lot of weight. They want to, get some new gear on. And really, there's just so many of them. It's just so many different variables based upon all the clients I've had in the past 11 years.
Why is it that you choose to work with men?
So growing up, my dad was as I like to call, a fashionista. He would go to Italy and he would just buy the craziest things. He'd be the only guy back home wearing things that are just out of this world, but they always look so good on him, right? And I love that. I love the confidence and I grew up in that, seeing my father being so confident in the things that he was wearing. And I was like, and I think that is an attractive quality to have, whether it's from a friendship perspective, whether it's from a dating perspective. Confidence is a beautiful thing. I think more and more people, they start to see a difference in themselves when they start to wear things that make them feel good. And so that is what I want to do. And because, again, I grew up with my dad being like that. And, my guy friends, when I was in universities, was when I started this company, they would say, I'm going on a date. Can you help me find an outfit? And I said, absolutely. And then I started noticing that, like, I'm looking more at men's clothes and I'm looking even at women's clothes because I'm trying to, like, figure out how I can help my guy friends and dress better, do better, you know? So I don't know. It just kind of fell into my life and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, that's great. And it seems like you're very passionate about it. Can you tell me what kind of impact or what kind of success stories some of your clients have had through working with you and just changing their wardrobe?
Ultimately, it's just the confidence. It's a change of confidence. It's I had one client. I got him into a couple different suits because he was going to a corporate function in Miami, and he was messaging me, and he's like, "I'm so happy right now. Like, I don't even feel like myself anymore." He's like, "I feel like I just came out of my shell," type of thing. He's like, "I'm getting this attention, from men who are complimenting me on my outfit, from women who are also complimenting me on my outfit, and it's just like a sudden change of events in somebody's life from like wearing something that you're not really getting noticed in a sense, but you have that fire inside of you to putting yourself into something that you're like, wow, like this really speaks to who I am as a person, right? And I mean, again, all my clients are very different from one another. If I can put one guy in skinny jeans and he'll love it, and the other guy, I know I cannot put him in skinny jeans, otherwise he's gonna run out of the store, right? So everybody's different, but in terms of impact, it's just the confidence level within all my clients.
Well, okay, here's the thing. So let's say you have somebody who is interested in getting your help, but maybe they don't really know what they like or how they want to appear.
Sure.
So if you bring them, let's say, like a shirt that they're not used to wearing, like with a certain pattern that they wouldn't normally wear, is it something that you would kind of allow them to try on and just run with it and see what happens? Or are you really trying to focus on just working with their comfort level and putting them in clothes that they feel comfortable in?
Both. So I want them to be comfortable, but I also do want them to step out of their comfort zone. After all, they did hire me to help them, right?
Yeah.
I don't want them to stay in that same pattern of the same things that they've been wearing for years in and out, right? So what I say is, if you're afraid to, let's say, wear a bright pink shirt, I'm not going to put you in a bright pink shirt, but I am going to put you in something with a little bit of color and a little bit of pattern, right? Depending on, again, there's skin tones and different colors and color matching, and there's just so many other variables to it. But it's really taking the client and saying, okay, you've been wearing this for so long, you hired me for a purpose, and that's to make you change up your style and the way that you've been doing things for a while, right? So like I'm open to, of course, I want to listen to the client. I want the client to be happy, but I also want them to trust in me that I'm not ever going to put them in anything where it doesn't, or I think it doesn't look good on them, or they don't feel comfortable in. So I definitely listen to my clients. Absolutely.
Sure. And how do you figure out what you think would look good on someone?
So I mean, I've been in the fashion world for about 11 years. I study men's fashion. I know what seasonally is coming up, and I just kind of go with what's seasonally, and then I take the client and say, okay, how do I mix and match these, patterns and textiles and all these different shapes that are coming up to suit the certain clients that are coming into my queue, right?
Right. Okay, so let's say somebody calls you and they say, I want to work with you. What happens from there? Do you do a consultation and then figure them out, or what's going on?
That's exactly what I do. So we'd meet for about an hour consultation. I get to meet the client, see kind of what their style's like already, right? That's like the initial impression. And then from there, we would sit down, discuss things like, what are you looking to achieve? Are you looking for it to be more casual, more corporate, or both, mix of both? And then I would take all of the information that I just gathered from my client, and I would do like a pre-poll, as I like to call it. So instead of going and I don't go to malls, by the way. I don't do malls.
Oh, okay.
I do boutiques. I want it to be an experience for my client. I don't want it to be overwhelming and I'm pulling them around from store to store.
Right.
And then, so what I do in advance is I'll go to these boutiques. I'll pull out the certain garments that I know I want my client to try on. So we save time. Men don't like shopping. Let's be honest. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I pride myself on my efficiency and how fast we get this done. Most of my clients, I think the longest shopping session that I've had was 4 hours.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm usually done in 2, which is that building that foundational step, with the jeans and the chinos and whatever they need to get started. But yeah, like it just depends on the circumstances, but that's how I normally do it. So I just pull everything, and then once I'm done with that, we'll schedule a date to go shopping that works best for them.
You're right. Okay. So they call you, you meet with them, you ask them questions, you observe how they're dressed in the moment.
Yeah.
And you kind of try to figure out, okay, maybe we can improve on this. Maybe the pants are a little bit too wide here. So we'll try to shop for something that's a little more fitted. You kind of see the body style.
Exactly. And then also too, a lot of my clients, I mean, I have some really tall clients, right? So I know
Serbian clients?
Serbian clients. Yeah, actually I have a couple, but yeah, like it's not that easy to find, you know, a pair of jeans that's just going to fit them. So I need to do my research, my due diligence before we go and shop. So there's a lot more to it, right? It's not just, let's just go shopping, right? There's a lot more to take into consideration.
Right. Right. I know this is kind of random, but I remember I always hated boot cut jeans. I don't like how they look. But then once I saw a friend of mine, he's a lot taller. He's maybe like 6'2". He was wearing boot cut jeans and it looked decent on him. So then I realized, okay, that maybe that's what those type of pants are, that type of pant leg is designed for someone a little taller. So
fun fact.
Yeah.
When you're wearing boot cut jeans, and a lot of the times guys will kind of roll them up a little bit too, it makes you look shorter.
Okay.
So that's the thing with some people, right? Like depending on how your structure is and how tall you are, certain little tricks can make you look either taller or shorter. Right. So maybe that's why.
Could be. It could be. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Why do you think that a lot of men don't care so much about how they dress?
So I think the men do care about how they dress. I think the biggest problem is that it becomes overwhelming for them. Not all men. Some men love to shop. I don't want to just, characterize and say all men. But, I think for the most part, men are just kind of comfortable with the way that they've been dressing for so long. It's overwhelming to go shopping. Most of the clients that I have, they're like, I go inside a store and I just stand there. Or they'll see something that looks really nice on a mannequin, for example. They'll go in, they'll talk to the associate, they'll try it on, and they're like, wow, that looks terrible on me.
Right.
Right? So, and then you get discouraged, and then you just leave.
Right.
That's what happens for the most part. That's the feedback I've received from my clients. And so I think it's just having somebody who has an eye for it, that it's like, just go with it, right? Like that's why they hire me. They're like, just go with it. I don't even want to think about it. And the number one thing that my clients always say when we're doing the styling, like the actual shopping day, is they never expected to be wearing something like that. They never expected that it would look this good on them, right? So, I mean, I love that, but it's them not really knowing which ones to pull and how to layer and put things together. That's overwhelming, and that's why I think the majority of them have that issue. Yeah,
well, part of that, like, let's say, I'm pretty sure this is common. For example, with me, sometimes I go out of my comfort zone and I'll wear something that I don't normally wear, and then I'll wear it a couple times. After that, I'll never wear it again.
Why is that?
Just, I don't know, I guess in that moment I thought it would suit me and stuff, and then I grow out of that phase. I don't know if that's common. Is that something that you find with your clients? Like that, let's say you put them into a shirt with a pattern that they wouldn't normally wear. They'll say, oh, I never thought I'd wear this. And then maybe 6 months down the line, they stash it in the back of the closet and never wear it again. Is that something you come across?
I mean, potentially, right? Like when it comes to patterns, it's difficult because, when you start wearing them so many times, it kind of gets boring to anybody, really, right? But there are different ways to take that one shirt and change it up completely. Let's say if you are wearing a patterned dress shirt, for example, you can put a cardigan on top, layer it up. You can put a jean jacket. You can put a leather jacket. You can wear it on its own. There's just so many different ways to do it just to change the way that one shirt looks.
Yeah.
So another thing I do with my clients, I say, we're going to get a bunch of stuff, but this bunch of stuff, or not a bunch, but let's say let's say 10 pairs of pants, 10 pairs of shirts. So I'm just throwing a number out there. And I'm going to say, we're going to get different jackets, different sweaters. And I'm going to create 50 different looks with these.
Right.
And they're like, really? How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, let me show you. Right. So then I'll put a collage together for them. So they also too have a memory of what they were wearing. So when we're doing the actual styling, I'll take pictures of everything that they're wearing and I send it to them. And I'm like, just for your information, remember this is how you can change that one shirt into like 10 different looks. And that's how you kind of don't get bored with it.
That's right. Yeah. And I think another thing is a lot of people just don't feel like thinking about what to wear in the morning. Like you let's say you wake up and you just want to get out of the house, you'll just pick whatever, and usually it's the same stuff over and over because you're comfortable with it.
That's why I kind of wish I went to like a Catholic high school. I'm like, everybody always used to hate like getting dressed, getting the
uniform.
the uniforms. I'm like, I would have loved that uniform.
Right.
And then they have like different days. But to your point, it is a pain. But once you start, you kind of develop that routine of, oh, you know what? I know that that's going to go well with this. And then it's also to color matching in terms of saying, like, I know that no matter what shirt I put on with these pants, it's going to look good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy for them. So it's not like they're just standing there and they're like, okay, well, I forgot what Anja said.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, no. Anja said that I can wear any one of these shirts with any one of these pants. Easy, right? So it's an easy thing for them to just kind of open their door and go.
Makes sense. Do you have any tips for maybe a way to spruce up or switch up the routine? Like, say, for example, maybe preparing your wardrobe for the entire week ahead of time?
I always prepare the night before. And I always say, you know what, when you're preparing for the next day, it just makes your life so much easier. That goes for anything, really, just not just clothes, right?
Yeah.
Prepare the night before, have an idea, or just call me or message me if you have any problems, if you're trying to figure it out. But for the most part, like I said, I send them those pictures and they're good to go. Like I have really great clients, by the way.
So on a Friday night, you were picking out your outfit?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
I like to plan ahead. I'm a planner, okay? Like project management at its finest.
Yeah. All right, so plan ahead. Make sure you have different pieces that can match with other, like, let's say, a couple of shirts that can go with different pairs of pants. Maybe throw on a cardigan or a different blazer or some sort of accessory maybe to switch things up a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are you a fan of accessories for men?
I am. I think there's a certain type of guy that really enjoys wearing accessories, and there's a certain type of guy that just absolutely hates it.
What kind of accessories are we talking?
Anything. Necklaces, bracelets, rings. They just don't like it. It just causes, I don't know, a distraction for them. See, exactly.
Yeah,
like
I don't wear anything at all.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like some people love it. I know guys that'll wear, 2 necklaces and they'll have a bracelet and some rings
and a watch
and the whole 9 yards. But there's some clients who are like, that's not my style, and I don't force that. For me, it's mainly like the clothing. Like if I think the client's open to the accessories, I'm always for it. I'm like, we can get a couple subtle things. They don't have to be so flashy, but small steps.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked about some of the important things to have a strong image, let's say in a professional setting. So you said the fit is very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are there any other things that are important for professional setting and presentation?
Well, number one is the fit. Absolutely. Yeah. Another thing is just getting into something that makes you feel comfortable, right? Like there's different suits out there for men that, and a lot of my clients will do made to measure or bespoke suits. You have to be comfortable in what you're wearing. And a lot of people I find that are not in something that they are comfortable in get distracted. And that's not a good thing. So finding something, again, is fit and just something that makes you feel comfortable. And like I said, corporate structure is completely changing in terms of the things that people are wearing. So if it's not a suit that you're wearing, maybe it's going to be like a nice formal pant with a, sweater, let's say, for example. Yeah. Just finding something that you're comfortable in really is what matters.
Okay. All right. So it's not about specific colors or
it's not
specific materials. It's about comfort and it's about fit.
Correct.
And the whole point of that is to give you confidence.
Exactly.
And so that from within, the change comes from within. It's not about how people perceive you, but it's how you perceive yourself.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Good. I was going to ask you something here, but I just kind of forgot. Well, anyways, just in terms of tips on how to maybe efficiently spruce up your wardrobe, are there anything specific that comes to mind?
Just paying attention to what's coming up in this season. Instagram's a huge platform. There's so many different accounts for men. You can take a look there and get ideas if you don't, necessarily have the time for a stylist, or if you don't really have time to shop, period. You can order online, but typically look online, see what really, gets your eye, catches your attention, and then go from there. Just start small. Like there's so many different ways that you can start, but just start.
Yeah.
And then you can take it from, the jeans to blazers to sweaters to, dress shirts, although I do say dress shirts for the most part, 99.9% of mine will have to get altered.
Oh, yeah. So you recommend that people buy a dress shirt off the rack and then get it adjusted?
I recommend that people actually do made to measure. In the
Right.
long term, it's actually a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, because
they're not that expensive.
they're not.
Mhm.
They're not. Like, I mean, a couple different places I go to, they range anywhere from 150 to, you know, the most expensive one is maybe 300, 500 at the stores that I go to. But it depends on the fabric, and
Yeah.
there's just so many different variables.
Yeah, and
right?
there are options that are even less than that. It's the quality is going to be a little bit different, but
Yeah.
It might still be better than going to like Zara or certain other stores.
Well, and again, it just goes back to what your budget is, right?
Mhm.
So with my clients, the number one thing I, focus on too when we're at the consultation is like, what's your budget for this? You know, and then some of them will say, well, I don't really have one. I'm like, well, we have to work with something
Yeah.
because there's just so many different options out there. We can
Mhm.
go and shop for suits. If you want the finest quality, you're going to be spending a fine dollar, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
you just have to kind of figure out what works best for you. And like I said, if you're online searching and looking and, looking at different Instagram accounts, even my Instagram account. So, I mean, there's
Mhm.
just so many different ideas you can get.
Yeah. Well, let's say somebody had like a $500 budget, which is a very small budget. What would be some of the first things that you would go after? Basically, I'm asking you what's the priority?
I would say pants. So I'm going to give away one of my secrets. Club Monaco has the best chinos, the hands down. And I love the fact that you can mix and match those chinos with everything.
Right.
Like you can throw on a pair of Converse shoes, you can throw on a loafer, you can throw on a dress shoe, you can throw on whatever shoe you want basically, and then you just find one nice shirt that fits you, and it's a full outfit that you can transition from day into night. So you can go from office out on a date,
Yeah.
out with your friends for a drink, and that's the number one thing.
Okay.
And they're not even that expensive, to be honest. So I would say pants, chinos, maybe a pair of jeans, and a couple different tops.
Okay, so mostly focus on the pants,
Yes.
on the lower.
Yes.
And then because the shirts, I guess you can figure it out, or you might even be able to use what you have already.
Well, I just find that it's easier to find shirts for men. I mean, I'm not talking about specifically dress shirts. I'm
Mhm.
talking about like any shirts. And even like if you were, on a $500 budget, you can even go into Zara
Yeah.
and find a couple pairs of t-shirts and a couple pairs of, let's say, light, cardigans for our spring summer
Yeah,
weather we have right now.
Yeah.
So and they're not that expensive. So there's different ways to do it. It's just a matter of doing your research or
Mhm.
getting a stylist like myself to do the research for you. It just depends on what your budget is, but start off with those
Yeah.
foundational things like the pants and the shirts that are going to fit you properly.
I agree with you. When a few years ago, I went into Ted Baker to get a suit. Because I was at Yorkdale Mall, and some guy was wearing a really nice suit, and I
Mhm.
just asked him where he got it. He's like, "Oh, just Ted Baker downstairs." So I went in there, I checked it out, and I tried on the suit. It looked good, but the guy, the associate, was saying that you should get it tapered, and that was the first time that I knew anything about getting a suit tapered. Because I always thought you can like shorten the sleeves. I didn't know that you can actually
Take them in
take them in so that they're tighter. And
Yeah.
it's a much different look.
much.
Yeah, and I started doing that with all of my, a lot of the clothes that I had, and it made such a huge
difference.
It doesn't cost very much at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but like I had a few suits that I had bought a few years ago, and I never wore them because I just hated how they fitted. But once I got the legs tapered on the pants and the sleeves, that made all the difference. It looked so much better.
And that goes back to the fit. That's why I'm
Yeah.
a stickler for fit, because
Yeah.
it's those subtle little things that people don't really pay attention to or
Mhm.
really even understand that they can do. They don't really know that the option is there for them.
Right.
Having a suit that fits you, like it's made for you,
Mhm.
you just said right now, like it made a huge difference, and you noticed a huge difference.
And it makes the suit look more expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if you have a very expensive suit that doesn't fit well,
Yes.
it'll still look cheap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've seen that many times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just getting the adjustments done, and you don't even have to spend a lot, really. Like if you don't have a huge budget, if you're able to just, like you
Yeah.
said, just make those small adjustments, it'll change things for sure.
Oh no, 100%. And there's so many different options too. Like there's outlets. If you really want to look, you can find.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of time. So that's why it's great to have someone like you who can go out there ahead of time, like you said, visit the stores and pick things out so that
Exactly.
it saves them time, saves the people time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I love doing it. So
exactly. Yeah.
I don't have to drag them around with me. They can just
Mhm.
show up, and we'd already have everything we need for the pull for that day to shop.
Yeah. Well, what goals do you have for your business?
In terms of
the direction that you want to take it in, how many clients are you interested in working with? Just in general.
I mean, right now, directionally, the business is at a great standpoint. I can't complain. I have great clients. I'm pretty busy as I like right now.
Yeah.
I've worked with some amazing people. I've done a lot of different things where, like doing a podcast like this, or being on featured on different segments and blogs and newspapers and whatnot. And so I'm pretty happy with where it's at right now. Like in terms of how busy I am. If I can clone myself, I would say let's get more.
Yeah.
But as it stands, I'm very, very happy with where it is.
Good. I was going to ask you a question, but I forgot. Okay, I guess we'll just move on to the next segment here. Before we do, I just remembered. How are you getting your clients? Are you doing ads? Are you promoting online?
So it's mainly through my existing clients. They're referrals, Instagram, and then just surprisingly enough, Google search.
Okay, so just organically, you're not doing any ads?
No.
And for your referrals, are you asking for them, or are people just thinking of you?
People are just thinking of me.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried asking for referrals?
I have.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess because most actually of my clients will always send me referrals that I just kind of don't even ask anymore because they do anyway. So, but yeah, no, I'm not afraid to ask.
Yeah.
If that's what your question was.
No, I'm just because I think a lot of people don't ask for referrals. A lot of people think that you have to create ads and pay money to promote rather than just leveraging the people that are already believe in you, that have used your services.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. I'm not afraid to ask.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't ask, you don't know what the answer is going to be.
Okay, perfect. Let's jump into the next section, which is the random 5. I'm going to ask you 5 random questions.
Okay.
All right. And you can just let me know whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
All right. What's the most valuable lesson that a teacher taught you as a child?
Don't take no for an answer.
Okay. Was that here or in Serbia?
That was here.
Or Bosnia, I guess.
That was here.
Yeah. Okay, that was here. Don't take no for an answer. And that means, was there like a context around that? Like, were you trying to get something and...
I like to hustle, as I like to say. I think I don't know what it was. I was trying to get, I think it was, I don't know, probably some classmate or something to do something. And she's like, don't take no for an answer. She's like, but look at it from a perspective where if you want it, figure out a different way to ask for it.
Find a way to get what you want.
Want, obviously without hurting anybody or doing anything in like a malicious way.
Right.
Just from a humbling perspective, don't take no for an answer.
Got it. Okay, that's good. What's one meal you'd eat for the rest of your life?
For the rest of my life, I love seafood.
Yeah.
I don't know if that doesn't really narrow it down to what
that's
specific
fine.
seafood,
we can go with seafood.
Mediterranean, like a good octopus, and just leave me in Greece by the ocean. And I just want
octopus. You like calamari as well?
I do.
Grilled.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It's so good. I can eat it all the time, and it's good for you. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I think you'd probably get sick of seafood though eventually.
Well, you'd probably just get sick in general from seafood over time, but who knows?
Okay. Can you share a success principle you live by?
Treat others how you want to be treated.
Okay.
I think the number one thing in life is showing respect to people. Doesn't matter who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like the saying, you can treat the CEO the same way you treat the janitor, right?
Yeah.
So, and I hold myself to that merit. I really don't think that people have an idea of how and what other people are going through. Mm-hmm. So you just have to treat others how you want to be treated. We're all going through something at the end of the day. Just be a good person.
Right. Well, the funny thing is, before actually interviewing you or even calling you, I had spoken to a couple of stylists, and some of them, they didn't really give me a good feeling for whatever reason. Okay. But when I spoke to you, it felt like you were a good fit for this. I just got a good vibe from you. So
thank you. Yeah. Likewise, this is why I'm here.
Perfect. All right. Can you share your morning routine?
I wake up. I think. I meditate.
Okay.
I meditate for 10 minutes every morning and every night, actually.
Mhm.
I meditate. I make myself a water with lemon, hot
Okay.
water with lemon,
Okay.
and I blast music.
Oh, all
I
right.
listen to music all the time. I
Okay.
think my neighbors hate me. But I do. I love listening to music. It puts me in a good mood, you
Mhm.
know, just listening to really anything. I'm open to all genres. And just getting ready to tackle the day.
Okay. Do you work out as well?
I work out during the day. I
During
don't
the
work out
day.
in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just when I have time, actually, I work
Yeah.
out.
All right. Fair enough.
Life.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is a two-part question. It's the final one. In a professional setting, do you think women should wear skirts or pants?
Women should wear whatever they want to wear.
Okay. That's a good answer.
You know,
Yeah.
like, if you want to wear pants, wear pants. If you want to wear a skirt, wear a skirt. You know, like we live in an age where, come on, guys. Like we should be really able to wear whatever we
Yeah,
want.
who's to say what you should be wearing
Exactly.
or why? Even, for example, like a suit for men. I always wondered where that idea came from, that is the professional look.
Mm.
I'm sure there is a history. Do you know the history?
No, I don't actually.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Like, why aren't T-shirts the professional look, for example? Well, I can imagine maybe because the suits are more expensive, so you have to spend more money, and that gives you that prestigious look potentially. I'm talking about historically.
I think it stems essentially also too from different eras and progressions. You know, we had the kings and the queens, right? And then,
Mhm.
you know, different eras transition into different wardrobe styles, right? I'm going to say it's safe to assume that, excuse me, that evolution, from an evolutionary perspective, we hit that point in our lives where, well, what's the next thing? And men who were, you know, well off would purchase suits.
Mhm.
And so that was a status thing, a stature thing. So
Yeah.
I want to say it kind of started from that realm
Yeah.
and then it
Well,
transitioned into
It could even be like, why don't men wear dresses? Why is it a suit, right?
Yeah.
Like, why is it pants, shirt, and jacket? It's just I'm just curious to know why that happened. But I do know one thing. Do you know why men have flaps at the back of their suit jackets? Like, you know why there's a slit?
You tell me why.
Do you know?
Yes, I do know.
Okay.
You tell me.
It's from my understanding, it was originally created for the men that were riding on horses,
Mm-hmm.
so that it wouldn't tear.
Question.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something that I discovered when I bought my Ted Baker suit. There was a little pamphlet inside that explained it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That, and also too, after a while, like, I mean, that's how it started, but it's also
Mhm.
too, like, when you sit down.
yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't pull it.
Right, yeah. But originally for the horses, so
Yeah.
I thought that was
And
interesting.
that's another thing too. It's like I see a lot of guys walking around in the financial district specifically where they have the flap, but
Yeah.
they didn't cut the
They
string.
didn't cut it. Yeah, yeah.
I just want to carry little scissors and be
Yeah.
like, can you just stop for a minute? I'm just gonna cut that. for
Right,
you."
right. Yeah, I guess people don't really know if they should or not.
Yeah, or
So-
like they'll leave like a tag on or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Little
that's-
things.
It's interesting just to see different people. Like, for me personally, I don't really love to shop, but I don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
I want to wear just enough to look presentable and decent, especially because I'm in sales and whatnot. So when I was younger, I used to enjoy shopping a lot more. As I've aged, it's not.
Is it a time thing? Is it like what's the main, I guess, point as to why you don't like it? Why it changed?
Time? Yeah, because
Mhm.
I don't have the patience to go to the mall like I used to and spend all those hours shopping. So for me, like, getting a custom shirt is so much better,
Mhm.
even though it's a little more expensive, but just saves time. And the other thing is, I don't like to spend as much money as I used to on clothes. Yeah, I just for whatever reason, like, I have different priorities now,
Sure.
like a mortgage.
That's
So,
a big priority.
yeah. So I'd rather save the money and spend it on something different. But just once in a while, I kind of set aside a small budget for clothes.
Listen, then you have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't have to be an astronomical amount, but
Mhm.
just a little bit of investment in yourself goes a long way. You know, you're not. That's my grandfather had a saying. He's like, "You're not rich enough to buy crap." and really,
Yeah.
and that resonates with me because the more things you buy that are cheaper, you're going to have to keep rebuying, right? So in the end, if you spend an extra $100, the quality of something is going to be astronomically different. And so you have it then for a longer period of time, as opposed to, you know, buying a shirt that's, I don't know, $6, $8, that it's going to, you wash it a couple times, it's going to get ruined and disheveled. And you're like, well, okay, now I'm going to go buy another one for $6, another one for, okay, well, over time that adds up.
And it doesn't even look good, that $6 shirt, right?
Exactly.
There's a big difference. Even when you're talking about like a V-neck shirt,
yes,
if you get a really cheap one, it just doesn't look good. And once it's washed a couple times, it's
done.
Terrible. But if you get like a wool shirt or something, that's going to last.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, think about it in this way. You can use that $6 shirt to clean your floors afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah. What I do now, because I don't spend as much, is I actually create a priority list on my phone. If I think to myself, okay, I really need some shirts, so I put that as a number one priority. Because what I used to do is like I would just go spend time at the mall, and then, okay, it's a nice pair of shoes here, I'll grab those, I'll grab a pair of pants, and then later on I realized I didn't need that stuff. I needed shirts. Right?
That's how they reel you in, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Consumerism, you know?
Yeah, so to create that priority list really helps, and then that way I'm always just spending the money on the things that I need.
Well, and also too, I think a lot of people don't realize, but online shopping is great for that, right? Like if you know specifically you need shirts, go online.
Exactly.
Order shirts. Check
but
out.
Even when you're online, you still end up seeing like a pair of pants that you like or something. And
see, I'm not an online shopper.
Yeah.
I think I maybe only purchased 3 things in my life online.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm more about the touch, the physical look of things. So I don't understand that world, but I do know that a lot of my friends vouch for it.
Yeah. It's easy.
It just depends on your personality.
I do everything. I shop for everything online except clothes, probably.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just I think it's very important to have the right fit and to try it on and whatnot. So, especially because, like I said, I don't buy too much.
But if you do go to the mall and you find a store that has the fit that you're looking for, then you can just go online and you know what size you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, so
that's
it
true.
helps you in that sense.
But even like say a given store like Zara, they might have a fit that's very skinny, and then it may not be advertised as that, and then they might have like another pair in the same store that's a completely different fit. A good example of that would be Topshop or Topman.
Topshop,
yeah.
Topshop men.
Yeah, Topshop men.
Yeah.
They're like, I can try on a pair of pants that's, so usually I'm like a 33 or 34 inch waist. For them, I might try on a 32 and it'll fit, and then another pair right next to it will be a 36.
Yeah, and that's to the point I was saying, like, you have to know the store that you're buying from, right? Like, if you know that, then you know you don't shop online for that,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
But if you know, like, let's say back to Club Monaco, that you're a size 32, 33, it's always going to be the same size.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you just have to know the store, really.
Yeah.
And it's an effort, and it takes a long time to really kind of figure out what works best for you.
Yeah. It's an investment so that you can look good and feel good, and All right, there was that second part, which I think I already know the answer based on your other answers. But do you think men should be in a professional setting again, do you think men should be wearing a tie or no tie?
In a professional setting or just in general?
Professional.
What's professional? Let me ask you that.
Let's say a job interview.
A job interview. Interesting. Again, with the way that things are changing, I really think it depends on what you're interviewing for, really. You know, there's a lot of, we live in a time where it's like a huge startup culture.
Yeah.
They don't even care about if you're wearing, they actually prefer you not to wear a tie, you know, whereas you could be doing an interview for the bank and they might prefer you to wear a tie.
Yeah.
So it depends on the corporate culture you're kind of, you know, immersing yourself in. But I think that people need to figure out for themselves what works, right? Like I personally, I love ties. I don't mind if they wear a tie or don't wear a tie. It's completely up to you, right? But in like an interview setting, just know your employer. Just kind of figure it out for yourself. Does it really make a difference, you know, if you're wearing a tie or not wearing a tie?
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. What I love about just fashion in general is that, in my opinion, there are no rules. I know a lot of people say that there are, but really, I think you've touched on this. If you feel good wearing what you're wearing, then that's your fashion, that's your style. Then you shouldn't be mindful of what anyone's saying about it. No,
because what works for you is not going to work for somebody else, and vice versa, right? It's all about being having your own individuality in terms of the way that you do expressing yourself. Yeah, it's art. Fashion is art.
Exactly.
Like really, what it comes down to it. So
everything is art, really. when you think about it, everything is art.
And like who you are as a person, people don't know that. The first thing that they see is what you're wearing.
Right.
So your clothes introduce you before you even say a
Exactly.
single thing. So
It's just it's a little bit controlled because we're kind of conditioned to think to find out or figure out what we should be wearing based on what's acceptable. And even when you walk into stores, every store will have the same color patterns, the same style. It's just slight differences. I've noticed that.
So again, it depends on where you shop.
Yeah, where you shop. I mean, if you're walking through the mall,
sure,
and you're looking at the major brands, they're all carrying pretty much the same thing.
And I'm in agreement with you. Even for women, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
you know, it's across the board, men and women. It's like I walk in, and I was like, that store looks like it has the same thing as the other store, just kind of a little bit different, but same.
Yeah, exactly.
Same but different, basically. So and that's why it's overwhelming for people to shop,
right?
Because you're like, okay, I just walked by that store. That store has the same thing. What's the difference? And for people who don't know, they don't know, right?
Yeah.
So it gets a little bit more tricky towards the end.
Cool. All right, great. Well, that was really good. I thought it came out really well, and I appreciate all of your input on this. So if you just want to share how people can reach you, and you've talked about the services you provide, so maybe just kind of telling them how they can reach you.
Absolutely. So I have a contact form on my website at www.alphamalestyling.com. You can just drop me a line there, and I'll get back to them pretty much within the hour.
Awesome.
And they can check out my Instagram at alphamale_styling.
Awesome. Great. Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me
I look forward to seeing you again.
Likewise. Thank you.